You're listening to the Belmar Bites podcast, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. Okay, well, welcome, Matt. Episode number 2. Here we go.
Good to be here, Scott.
Yeah, we made it. We made it through the first one, and we're on to number 2. So it was the last conversation we had was great. Maybe just a super quick recap. We talked a little bit about the history of the company, the journey that we've been on, the journey that Salesforce has been on since we became a partner back in 2010. And here we are. I guess we technically are now in summer of 2025, and we're talking about just before we got into the recording, you and I were just chatting about some of what Salesforce has been up to. So why don't we talk a little bit about that to start? I mean, there's a number of topics we could pick up on. Maybe we can talk super quickly about just this most recent acquisition that they've done.
Yeah.
You had brought up some of the sponsorship that they're doing, so we can talk about that. But why don't we just start with? I guess it's now a couple of weeks ago they made a big announcement after being pretty quiet for a while in terms of acquisition. So I'd love to get your thoughts and just capture some ideas around sort of what this Salesforce acquisition trend has looked like maybe over the last few years, and the most recent one they announced a few weeks back.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, the most recent acquisition being Informatica, which is effectively Salesforce acquiring Informatica, which was a pretty large acquisition. Informatica is an ETL, extract, transform, load kind of data tool, a data cleaning tool, which I'm with you. This is kind of the first big move that they've made in a little bit since the big Slack acquisition, since the Tableau, since the Quip, MuleSoft. But Salesforce is known for making these big acquisitions. So why now? Why'd they do it? This is my perspective on it. Would love to hear your take on it. But I mean, I think it's a further double down, triple down on where they see AI fitting into the enterprise software space, and to have good AI and not just a chatbot or not just a whatever, insert this AI tool here, being able to really have it fully integrated into your corporate tech stack and your enterprise tech stack, be it a large organization or small organization, you need clean data. So I think that's number one. It just solidifies their thinking that data is the linchpin of any organization. And without good data, clean data, you're not going to be able to produce valuable AI insights as well. So that's number one. And I think second to it, trends that we've seen, whenever Salesforce acquires or picks up a new product, there's a long kind of a runway, if you will, in which business as usual, they operate kind of independently. And I think that is actually something that is not taken away from these organizations, because Informatica, Slack, Quip, MuleSoft, they all have their own customers before. And I think something that Salesforce does really well is the integration of the two while still giving them runway to still serve their customers. Then you look out 1, 2, 3, 4 years, then maybe it gets sold, co-sold, or integrated into the platform. But I think it's an exciting, really exciting acquisition. It's a really big acquisition in this kind of AI world that we look at as well, especially with Agentforce. But that's kind of my take on it. What do you think, Mike?
I would agree. I think was it last September that they made the big announcement around Agentforce, and they did that leading up to Dreamforce, but everything was official at Dreamforce last September, and I think just on the consumer app side of things, man, we've seen so much transformation happen and so much change happen really within Google and Anthropic and OpenAI and even, I guess, to a big extent what Elon's doing over at X and with their Grok product. And so just all of this consumer facing stuff, which is then also much of it is being consumed within the enterprise. And Salesforce I mean, part of me thinks this is actually a defensive play for them in that, they've launched Agentforce. They've now, I think I read last week or the week before, they're now kind of on their third iteration of Agentforce. And so, uh, Salesforce historically has been very well known for managing a big piece of that customer data, but all the data that they don't manage on platform today, being able to train on that data, they're going to need some pretty strong plumbing that connects into these other enterprise systems. So, uh, yeah, having rather than partnering, let's go out and actually acquire and provide that uh, infrastructure to their customers. So I see this. I'll maybe take the pessimistic side of it. I see it maybe more as a defensive play for them to just like really be able to lock in uh, on getting access to all that data that they want to train against. But it's a we yeah I guess I look back over my career and there's been I've had the I guess fortune to have gone through a few of these sort of big technology uh, changes, social, mobile, maybe mobile, then social. It probably had the order inverse there, but mobile then social, and just now we're seeing just all this agentic transformation, and it's every cycle has a lot of hype. This one seems to just have sort of uncontrolled hype in terms of just what's happening, and so it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Um, what are your thoughts on I guess even within our customer cohort that we work with, and what we're seeing their interest slash adoption of AI, and where do you see that going in the next year?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kind of runway in history that we can go look back at. Like what has been a revolutionary technology that's gone out and how's that been adopted? And I think within our customer base, I mean, we serve a lot of the mid-market size customers and lower enterprise and strat customers. Um, there, I kind of break into three phases. There's the education phase, there's the adoption phase, and then there's acceleration phase. And I think there's still so much work that's still being done on that adoption and education phase, those one and two, to be able to really realize the value of AI. I
Hmm.
think in general, there's still a lot of unknown and a lot of fear, as with any change, as with any kind of revolutionary technology. And I
Yeah.
think this is revolutionary. Absolutely, this is the I mean, think of the development of electricity, development of the internet. Like this is one of those because artificial intelligence, which we've seen in movies, we've seen kind of just it's this walking robot talking
Yeah,
takes over the
Terminator
world.
type
Yeah,
stuff.
you've seen those certainly, but I think underlying all of this, there's really just a whole ton of productivity that can be kind of pulled from this that we've never been able to utilize before to
Yeah.
to be able to save humans for high value items, high value things. So I think within our client base, certainly there's still a lot of fear, and I think it's the job of ourselves and I guess any SI to be able to share and address. Okay, how can this be solved? It's not a displacement or replacement; it's an augmentation. But I think over the next year, AI is going to change even more so. So you look at the last 1 year ago today to 1 year
Yeah,
from now,
for sure.
it's going to be so drastically different in
Yeah.
which I kind of mirror it to during COVID, the amount of transformation and digital transformation was everybody's
Yeah.
favorite word during COVID. The amount of transformation that happened then, I'm going to mirror that to this, which
Yeah.
is we will notice so much more, perhaps some forced adoption, some out of necessity, needing to do more with less. We're going to see that. So that's kind of my where it enters.
Yeah, yeah, and I would agree with that summation. I think as you were sharing that, I was thinking back to let's go back and maybe you weren't in a spot yet in your life, Matt, where sort of that transition, like where mobile came into the workplace, but um, I was there, and it was very interesting because the adoption was individual, it was personal. You got a
Yeah.
cell phone. you would, call your friends and, or call your loved ones. It was just a better way to communicate than what we had before. But in terms of adoption within the enterprise, I mean, I suppose it was used for work, for making calls, but until all the mobile apps showed up, I guess that, really aligned when Steve Jobs announced the iPhone. Uh, it wasn't central to the enterprise. It wasn't central to the workplace. And I would say, I mean, I know for myself, and I know because you and I talk about this a lot. Like, we use uh, these AI tools within the business, but in a very informal way.
Yeah.
If I'm writing something, or if I'm, we use the Google Stack. So Gmail now has this button within Gmail that you can enhance your email, and it presents an option that you click the button, it rewrites your email, and you can accept it or
Hmm.
reject it. So informally, we're using it. I mean, we have I would say an informal AI strategy where we will use AI tools when they make sense, but uh, we've not actually gone out and implemented AI tools right across the board, short of the features that are showing up within
Hmm.
tools like Google, and within even I suppose within Salesforce to some extent. But I see that flipping. I would bet every single one of our customers, their employees, uh, their leaders, they're using these AI tools to just speed up the work that they're doing, to make things easier for themselves. Like, even when I think about, doing a podcast, well, like, what's an agenda? Like, I could go and I could flip back through X, or I could flip back through LinkedIn, and I could look at articles that I read over the last week, and, try to remember where they were so that I could, bring some context into a conversation like this. Now you just feed it into one of the tools, and, give me a summary of the top 10 articles uh, in the Salesforce ecosystem that were published in the last week, and boom, there they are. And so just the speed at which we can get things done, it just allows for more time in the day to go and do more productive activities. So I see that happening right now, and I think there will then just become this um, moment in time. Is that in the next year? Is that a year and a half out? I don't know exactly what that time horizon looks like, but
Hmm.
it'll just be so compelling, uh, and um, and that will happen within the Salesforce tools. I think right now we're still kind of in that early adopter phase, and in terms of its capabilities, and all the use cases that Salesforce is claiming it can address. It's just not as apparent to our customers, but that day's coming, and I think it's coming pretty quick. So um, why don't we just change gears? You had mentioned before we jumped on today, you were talking about some of the advertising that you're
Hmm.
seeing Salesforce
Yeah.
put their logo on, and certainly it's an interesting topic. So give me kind of your top two or three that you're seeing Salesforce put their logo in terms of advertising.
Yeah. And I think it's a commonality across a lot of, at least what I watch on TV. You're seeing a lot of SaaS products link themselves to celebrity sponsorships or celebrity endorsements. So, I mean, I've seen Salesforce commercials. The two partnerships that you and I were chatting about before we hopped on here was one, F1. So everybody, I think F1 really took off, and I know Scott, you follow the circuit, um, but F1 really took off, I think, post the Netflix series,
Yeah, for
and that's
sure.
where you really got a lot of viewership. So Salesforce is used by the F1, and certainly is a technology product they use. But the one that I watch a lot of golf. I like to call myself a hack because I'm not quite good. Actually, I'm really not good at golf, but I enjoy playing golf and I like watching golf. And Salesforce recently announced a partnership with Live Golf, which is kind of a competing golf league to the PGA Tour, which is what most people would be aware of. And where I really think that this converges, because I've also seen Workday commercials on TV with Idris Elba, and insert other kind of celebrity sponsorships. Salesforce, Scott and Matthew McConaughey. Um, why do I think they're doing it? I think it's more so just the celebrity endorsement. I think if you look at the underlying trust factor, these are reputable names. These are reputable kind of, again, industry names, at least in Hollywood and in that space, that they're able to help with that. Even tied back to the AI adoption, that education and trust layer. These are known quantities. These everybody has a, be it relationship, be it through watching this person act or whatnot. And they really, that is certainly influential. So I think if anything, it goes to show that kind of the trust side of SaaS products,
Hmm.
because the reality is it's very difficult to market. It's not a physical, tangible product. It's a digital product. So that's my take on it, is that they're trying to make it physical and try to build trust and tie relationships with end users and customers to that of these, um, I guess, celebrities or actors and whatnot. And Salesforce does a great job attracting the who's who in the zoo at
Yeah. Oh
Dreamforce.
yeah.
They're biggest, and I think I saw this year they've got some actors in there as well. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what's your perspective? Why do
Yeah.
you
I
think
mean,
they're?
it's interesting. I mean, it probably is rooted in sort of the bigger than life personality of Mark Benioff. I remember on the prior pod that we did, I mentioned the first Dreamforce that I went to. I sat pretty close to the front, and Will.i.am was sitting, I don't know, like 10 seats away from me, and which I kind of thought, no, that's kind of cool. Like Will.i.am super close, and it's like, and then I thought, well, what's Will.i.am doing at a technology conference? And I've had the pleasure of going to Dreamforce many times over the last 10 years or 15 years, and it's I mean, it's always it's kind of the who's who. You got all these celebrities there, and I think it's partly Mark Benioff's style, but there's also a method to the madness. It it connects their brand to a consumer in a way that uh, is different from just selling to the CIO and selling to the IT department of a large enterprise company. So it is interesting to see some of their brand partnerships that they've done, and I mean, I think too, Salesforce is now such a big name. I remember shortly after getting into the Salesforce world, I would spend most of my time explaining, who Salesforce was and what they did. Now, I mean, I bet you if you walk down the street today and just stopped a random person and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Salesforce?" Chances are I would put it at 50-50 that they've heard the name. They may not be able to explain what Salesforce is or what they do, but they've heard the name. But you go back 10 years, you'd be lucky if like 1 in 100 people that you stopped on the side of the street would know what that brand is. So, maybe it's in part they've just kind of gotten now to this size and scale that it's just critical to keep their logo in front of as many people as they possibly can at all times. And yeah, it's interesting to see some of the things that they are doing, and I would say they tend to partner with their customers, and they make a really big deal of the relationship that that they have with these customers and the benefit that they have with these customers, and what they've been able to accomplish. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
I guess if you
interesting.
think about it this way, Salesforce still, I think you're right. They're humanizing the brand, trying to connect with consumers of all levels. And I think it's also just a bit of a culture shift too, in that they're not just selling to CIOs, CTOs. In fact, some of the most influential people that you and I have seen in sales cycles too are often the end users, are often the people who are using the system. And when you're able to humanize the brand, let's put it this way. Salesforce, as of 2023, was sitting at 22% market share. So perhaps they've got more now, but think about all of that upside opportunity. And if they can even just hit more people and help influence a decision, I mean, I think it's better. It helps with their product development and helps them grow their market share as well. So again, I'd say let's put it this way. It's not random. It's not random that
No, 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 not at all.
they're doing
No,
this, and it's not just because it's a cool name or raises some
no.
eyebrows. It's certainly intentional.
Well, there used to be this saying, and I haven't heard it for a long time, but it was you're not going to get fired for choosing IBM, and that what IBM was doing, and I don't believe they actually were out marketing that slogan, but there was a well-known slogan that you're not going to get fired for choosing IBM. I think Salesforce is in that same spot now. You're not going to get fired for choosing Salesforce. It is best in class, best in breed. So to appeal to an extremely wide audience, you've got to go wide in your marketing, and we've certainly seen them do that over the last couple of years with some of these partnerships, with F1 and now Live. So that's an interesting one. All right, well, listen, what else we got?
Yeah, and I guess just like something that sets them apart, that over and above any other SaaS product, Salesforce is fantastic at connecting with their end users. I mean, I think about the mascots that they've got, the branding around their Ohana, their
Yeah,
website. It is, stack it up against your next favorite SaaS product. It's head and shoulders above everybody else from marketing. So, I mean, credit where credit goes.
for sure. Yeah,
They are marketing wizards,
yeah,
and it's a great product, but they've definitely they're skilled at that.
yeah, absolutely. If maybe a bit of a book plug, Benioff wrote a book. I think it's called Beyond the Cloud. I'll have to double check, but I think it's called Beyond the Cloud, and it's the early stories of Salesforce and
Hmm.
sort of through their rise. But it's, I would categorize it as just their guerrilla marketing tactics. There's this one famous story that I remember that is in the book where Benioff, uh, he used to be at Oracle, and he started in a role that when he exited was much lower down the hierarchy than where he left at. But he as he moved his way up through the organization, story goes, he, really performed. He became, uh, a senior executive reporting directly to Larry Ellison. And when he told Larry that he was leaving to go start Salesforce, uh, it turned into a little bit of a pitch as well. And as the story goes, Ellison invested in Benioff. So anyhow, Benioff, with presumably Larry Ellison's blessing, leaves, goes to start Salesforce, and got invited some number of years later to go to the annual Oracle conference, and it held in San Francisco, same spot that Salesforce hold their Dreamforce event. And as the story goes, it was just hours before Benioff was to get on stage. Uh, Ellison pulled the pin and said, "No, he's not speaking." And so, uh, I mean, Salesforce was downtown San Francisco, so Benioff got his whole crew together, and they went and rented a restaurant. Uh, I seem to recall they had quickly put together signs. They had people out on the street saying, "Hey, if you're going to this keynote, like, come over here."
Yeah.
And they filled the restaurant, and he basically delivered his keynote in the restaurant. And so yeah, he's got the showmanship nailed. He's very dynamic when you see him speak live, and so a lot of just that charisma that comes through in their brand comes from him. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see what they're doing, and it's great. I think it's just great for if you're a customer, you've made this investment in this technology. It reinforces the decision that you've made by seeing that logo,
Mhm.
uh, all over the place. So
Well, I think that's a great segue maybe to our last kind of point here, that the makes you feel confident in your decision and the commitment, tying it back to Belmar. What kind of company are you trying to build, Scott? What do you want? If you had to share one thing with the market, and what do we want to be known for? What would you How would you answer that? And tying it back to Salesforce.
yeah, yeah, that's a great thought. Well, we have on our website, and we have this, our team communicate this message, and we really try every day to live it. Is to partner with excellence. So, uh, we see ourselves as a partner in this journey that our customers are on, and we want to do it with excellence. So, I think if we are delivering high quality work, uh, and through that process, managing customers' expectations, and being very aware of the needs they have, the challenges that they face, and just being a really good partner. Uh, I think we're gonna be here for a long time doing that, because people like to work with brands that they trust, and they wanna be associated and known by companies that are maintaining their values, and really helping them to succeed. And I really think that, as an organization, we do a good job of that. And I want to give our team a lot of props for that, because we've got 30 plus people on our team that really care very much about
Mhm.
the success of our customers. And so it's a privilege to be able to participate in this, and to lead the team, and to really uh, see our customers continue to come back to us because of the very positive experience that they've had. So, yeah. So I guess when I think about the future, it's just, let's just continue delivering just high quality service, and deliver excellence for our customers. And in doing that, we'll have a lineup of people that want to work with us, and
Mhm.
employees that want to come and work for us. And that's a fun place to be.
Yeah, that magnetic attraction, where you want to just be a part of that as well. But I think that's a great way to end this here. And I think certainly in the future, some stories that would be very valuable for people to hear is the successes, but also the pains. What are those things that we've seen over the years that kind of set people up for success when they consider implementations and technology and whatnot? So it's a great way to end it. Scott, thanks
Yeah.
for doing this, and have a good one.
All right, Matt. Episode 2. That was fun. And yeah, we'll certainly tuck in those topics in future pods. So
Yeah,
thanks for doing this today.
yeah, no problem.
This has been another episode of Belmar Bites, brought to you by Belmar Consulting. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or on our website at belmarcloud.com.